Uh,
I'm ready, by the way. We can start the thing.
okay, sure.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm gonna get my water.
Oh my god. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Grant and I made a top 10 list together, and today we are doing the top 10 guards from the Nancy Drew video game series for the personal computer. Is that right, Grant?
Yes, matter of fact, she's Meg and I'm Grant, and today we're doing the list.
In fact, we are. So, Grant, what exactly makes someone, qualified to be on this list? What are we looking for here?
Well, it's a pretty complicated list of qualifiers, but to sum it up briefly, it is they would need to be guarding something, I believe. That would be the number one criteria.
Yeah, number
And
one criteria.
yep. And we mainly made the list around how well they guarded the
Whatever
thing
it
they were
is.
guarding, of course.
Whatever it is
Yeah,
they're
whatever
guarding.
that is. As well as how iconic they are.
Yeah, of course. So it's a mix of that. Okay, and so let's get started and jump right into the list then. At number 10, we have the iconic Harlan Bishop of the Captain's Cove amusement park. Now, I think Harlan Bishop is a good guard because he seems to really care about making amends for, he's got a complicated past. He was a bad person once, he went to prison. And he just wants to show Paula Santos that he cares about his job. So he kind of goes into a little extreme, kind of spying on people around the park, you might argue. But the way he just sits in his chair in his office all day, just staring at the security cameras, he cares about his job. He's a great guard. He's always going to be watching, and he's always going to know if something is wrong. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and matter of fact, Harlan Bishop, I would consider one of my favorite characters from the Haunted Carousel. While that doesn't really add to his guard capabilities, he just happens to be a guard and be really cool, which is why he's on the list.
That's why he's on the list, exactly.
What's your favorite quote by Harlan Bishop? Asking for a friend.
You know, is it basic if I go with the backstabbing one?
I was expecting you to go with that, yes.
Yeah, but at the same time, for some reason, I find it amusing when Nancy first walks in and he's like, well, by the way, you just marched right in here past all those sorry we're closed signs. And then he says, maybe you're a gate crasher, but I don't know. I think that one's a good one too. And it's the first thing he says. It's a good first impression.
Of course, my favorite couple of things about Harlan are how, well, it's more about Paula, but the way that you tell Paula Santos, like, do you know that Harlan guy? He's actually a criminal. And Paula Santos is like, yeah, I know. What the fuck, Nancy?
I know.
And
Which, if you ask
also,
me, sorry, you go.
Also, Harlan Bishop has that famous, show me that carousel tape again, which, makes him a pretty good guard at guarding you from reaching progress in fucking Haunted Carousel.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Honestly, yeah, overall, Harlan Bishop, he's an actual guard, security guard, does his job right. He's a good character, and yeah, that's why he's on the list.
Yeah. And he also didn't commit the murder, or whatever the fuck.
Whoa, spoilers!
We're gonna be spoiling a lot, so whatever, I guess.
I know.
Number 9 on our list of top 10 guards, we have the famous guard of the Blackmoor Manor, that being Mrs. Drake's plant. Now, one of the deadliest guards on this list has actually confirmed kill on Nancy herself, if you aren't very careful around it.
What makes the plant, I would say, a little higher on the list than Harlan Bishop is the fact that the plant, is just so brutal. Is Harlan Bishop that brutal?
Yeah.
Would he eat
I don't
you?
think he never caused a game over scene, not even as brutal as the plant from her. And I think honestly Mrs. Drake treats the plant better than most people would treat other people. So I think the plant has it pretty good there.
The plant is so loyal to Mrs. Drake. So loyal. And like we just lack loyalty nowadays. Even though it's a plant, doesn't matter, it's still a living thing. It's loyal, it does its job, it guards, that's why it's on the list.
I don't think it would ever betray Mrs. Drake.
Not even if you fed it turkey.
Oh no, not turkey. I'm thinking about it. In Curse of Blackmore Manor, a lot of things aren't shown to us. Would Nigel Mukherjee ever interact with the plant? Because that would be like a funny sort of thing. Like, you know, he comes into the arboretum and he's like, well, what a stellar specimen, and it fucking chomps his pinky finger off.
At number 8, we have the most underrated character and guard from Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. And yes, I am talking about the infamous John Gray. He does a fantastic job of guarding the piano because he cares about his hearing.
You literally can't access the piano when Mr. John is in the room.
And how iconic is it when he goes, no, no, no.
No, no, no. And that small cutscene that plays when you press the piano, and he's like, he's literally cringing at the fucking thing.
It's a great cutscene.
It's awesome.
Yeah. He's great at what he does because, you know, like, I think what it is, it's the power of persuasion. He doesn't have to do anything. All he does is just go, no, 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 and Nancy's like, fuck, I better not touch this piano until he fucks off.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty persuasive. Like, she doesn't even try to play the piano. Like, she doesn't even press a button. She's just, like, compelled by the no, no, no.
Yeah. Exactly.
And by the way, somehow the music box that's in the same room, I believe, right? Doesn't even face him. Wait, is it?
I don't think that's what he cares about, though. Like, that's not.
No, but the reason why he is guarding the piano is, of course, because the piano triggers his apparatus or whatever for capturing ghosts. He's a ghostbuster or whatever.
That's another thing, Grant. He cares about his job. That's what it is with some of these Nancy Drew characters. Is that they just care so much that they stop Nancy from doing whatever it is she wants to do, even if it's just to play the piano. They're like, no, I am running a show here, and I need shit for the next episode.
Yep, and Tino Balducci calls him a quack, which is how you know he's a good guy.
Exactly.
At number 7, we have the famous guard from Deception Island. Tales of him are hailed amongst the 7 seas. It's the would-be harbor master, Holt Scotto, from this dangerous Deception Island, who is guarding the White House. You know.
There's definitely a difference here between Holt and a few of our other guards on this list, is that Holt is quite aggressive about it, though. But
yes,
I think...
not only is he... Yeah. Not only is he persuasive, he, like... Well, with John Gray, you can just no forever. With Holt Scotto, like, he gives you one warning, he gives you another warning, and fucking you're done. Girly,
yeah, you're donezo.
You're out of the island. See you in the next season.
What's even more intimidating here is that, like, the cutscene for when he first stops you from going to the lighthouse, it's so loud. And he just starts yelling.
Not only does he start yelling, he also, like, it's so unexpected when he shows up, like, from the edge of the screen. It's like an Ethel moment before Ethel was a thing.
True.
It's like a literal jump scare.
And let's talk about his words, too. Him calling Nancy girly in the most, like, threatening way. I'd shit my pants if that was me.
And he, in his very, how do they say this? very like manly, gargly voice. He's like, leave, and it compels you to leave, which makes him pretty good at this job, I'd say.
Right. But there is one guard that's a little bit better than Holt Scotto. So at number 6, we have the Rattlesnake at Zebra Rock in Nancy Drew, The Secret of Shadow Ranch. Oh my goodness, this rattlesnake, this isn't even the only appearance it makes. This rattlesnake has a job to do throughout the whole game. If you go somewhere too early, you're not supposed to be there yet. The game is like, no cheating for you. Here's this rattlesnake that completely guards, like, the most random things, but it does its job correctly, and that's what matters.
Yeah, this rattlesnake is like actually kind of insane at how well it guards these things.
I'm not sure how many times and appearances the snake does make, but I know it is multiple times because if you go and pick vegetables at the wrong moments, it will literally attack you then and there. And of course, Zebra Rock, and it's frightening because, like, hello, a rattlesnake of all snakes. And of course, because it's a game over sequence.
Okay, John Gray didn't have a game over sequence, but the last few guards all had game over sequences involved with them, and that's pretty brutal,
It is brutal.
This snake is about as threatening as Holt Scotto, and I think that's a pretty high bar.
I want to give the snake props too, though, because a snake is a snake. They tend to be a bit aggressive, but the snake warns you first, and it's just up to Nancy if she wants to be stupid or not and listen to the sound of it rattling and being like, dang, there's a rattlesnake there. It's clearly guarding something. I'm clearly not supposed to be here right now. But Nancy doesn't always listen. So the snake gives you a warning first, but then when you don't listen, it's like, hey man, I tried to tell you. Now I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, see, that's how it's a guard and not just a treat killer or something.
Yeah.
It gives you a warning, like, beat it. I don't know. And rattlesnakes, they're pretty threatening with their rattling, hence the name. But in the world of security guards, there can only be some people better than a snake, and one of those is the actual factual security guard from the Deadly Device. It's Gray Courtright.
Not to be confused with Gray Courtright with a W, though. That's a different person.
Yeah, not to be confused with Gray, but spelled with an E. Yeah. Courtright. Gray... It's difficult to describe Gray without going into spoilers, but we will say that you have to engage Gray at a security job many times in the Deadly Device. And many times you do have to basically turn on the alarm so that Gray fucks off from his workplace where you can hear like the Steam notifications. So I'd say the fact that he responds to alarms means that he's pretty dedicated to his guard job at Technologies of Tomorrow Today. That and if he catches you there, he's like, get out of there. It's pretty threatening, I'd say.
It's like the one part of the game compared to every other part of the game that like it genuinely has me on the edge of my seat because of that man.
Oh yeah.
When I'm in there and I'm snooping and I know he can come back at any time, and you have multiple things to do in there. Like it's really risky to do everything all at once, honestly.
You're solving that recording and you're thinking, oh, I hope Gray doesn't come, and he's like, get out of there. And it's like, oh, damn.
Right. And okay, how sick is his security office? Why can't all security guards have an office like that?
Yeah, it's like a fucking huge computer.
6 screensavers.
Yes, and he has a PhD diploma in his office belonging to a guy with a different name. The only thing that comes to mind other than that is that he well, of course, he helps you in the beginning of the game, where he's like, where you guys fix the thing. I don't quite remember what it was, unfortunately. And he's like, "My name's Gray. I'm guarding here."
Another example of someone who cares. Alrighty, at number 4, we have just the greatest invention of all time, or at least one of the greatest inventions of all time, a robotic cat. And a robotic cat that literally has different modes, and one of those modes is to literally guard things that are so precious to their owners. And they do such a great job of guarding it too. Literally, they even give you a bit of a warning, just like the rattlesnake did. They try to tell you, there Suki goes. Her name's Suki, by the way, sorry. Suki will literally, claw at you, but not actually. It's like a warning. And she's like, hey, don't touch Miwako's stuff. I'm guarding this. Meow, meow, meow. And then you're like, okay, I'll come back later, Suki. But no, you can continue to torment the robotic cat. And you can be like, no, I want to look at whatever it is that you are guarding because it must be important to the case. And then Suki at one point is just done with your shit. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to claw your eyes out. And then boom, game over. 10 out of 10 guard.
Yeah. Turns out that Suki cares about Miwako's privacy more than Nancy does, I guess.
And Suki's a robot!
Yeah. Has a better ability to read the scene than a detective, I guess.
Honestly, bonus points for Suki still being somewhat cute, even though you kind of question your sanity at that point.
Yeah, even though whenever Suki does anything, there's these fucking robot noises that are playing. I mean, Suki is still pretty cute. She is a cat, and cats are cute. Cats are good. At number 3, we have the famous champion of the judo competition from Secrets Can Kill. That's Connie Watson. Fuck, that's a spoiler, right? Sorry.
We already kind of established we're going to be spoiling the games.
Yeah, sure. Well, Connie Watson is the council president for Paseo del Mar High School, and she is guarding the teacher's lounge. Even though Nancy has a key to the teacher's lounge from her Aunt Eloise, who is a librarian at Paseo del Mar High School. She cannot get there while Connie is there, because Connie is gonna be like, no, Nancy, you can't go there. I gotta go now, later. And yeah, you can get there. Unless in Secrets Can Kill Remastered, you trigger the soda alarm and you tell Connie, like, hey Connie, someone triggered the soda alarm, which is an actual kind of ridiculous thing to do. Like, imagine having alarms in your soda machines, I guess. And then Connie leaves and you can access the teacher's lounge as this. But in the original, she's actually such a good guard, and the alarms on soda machines weren't implemented yet. You had to break the window to Paseo del Mar High to enter the goddamn teacher lounge. Insane. Connie's such a good guard, you had to commit vandalism to get past her.
Man, Connie cares so much about her role in that school. Like, the only reason why she lets the teacher's lounge out of her sight is if another kind of crisis is happening that she knows is her job to fix and take care of.
Yeah, and she's kind of a badass too, as we established. She's also great at deflecting, which guards should be. When you ask her about the medallion, she's like, wow, funny, I never noticed. I'm gonna go now later.
Oh, that's a very good point, actually.
Like, when you're guarding something, you gotta be like, yeah, good weather today. You gotta be oblivious to the to the people trying to get information from you. And in that sense, Connie Watson is pretty much number 1.
Well, as much as we love and stand Connie Watson for how well of a job she does, I think it's time to acknowledge one of the best guards we have on the list. At number 2, we have the Squirrel from Danger by Design. holy moly macaroni, does this guy do an incredible job of guarding, well, your path to success. And whatever that wheel is even called that he even guards from you. But man, he knows his job. He understood the assignment. He knows like his place in this game. And you know, it's something he has to guard multiple times from Nancy too, because Nancy tries to spin it over and over again to, you know, try to get the whatever it even is, I forget. But okay, and hear me out, Grant, okay? Sure, we have Connie Watson, Suki, Gray Courtright, and the rattlesnake, but are any of them squirrels? I feel like just the squirrel being a squirrel is just the most iconic thing and the most iconic part about this list. Have you ever seen a squirrel guard something before in your life?
I have not, other than Endangered by Design.
Because Endangered by Design is a stellar game. They knew what they were doing. They knew that having a squirrel in this game to guard something would be so iconic, and they knew that Grant and Meg would make a list and talk about it. But they knew, and here we are today.
Yeah, Endangered by Design really is one of the games that irradiates. They knew what they were doing energy, you know what I mean?
And even by defeating the squirrel, even when you know you managed to find a way to kind of, you know, scare it away, the squirrel at the end of the day is probably laughing at Nancy and it's going, haha, you had to spend some euros to get rid of me. I find that a win.
Even though it's like €1, if you bargain hard enough.
Doesn't matter. You're still €1 less.
But before we get to number 1, we have some honorable mentions. Colin Baxter from The Phantom of Venice, guarding the microscope. We decided he wasn't going on the list because he gives you the microscope anyway.
But hey, he tried. And he's still iconic.
Yeah. And he got pretty mad about it too.
Which is really funny. Another honorable mention what we have also. We have Lily Crew, who, once again, she just cares. That's the thing. Like, sure, maybe she doesn't care enough to go, like, on the list actually, but she still cares a little bit. And she knows her place, she knows her job, she's guarding everyone's stuff in that tent. She does a pretty good job of it, you know?
No, not the best job ever, but a pretty good job. And our last honorable mention would be Franz Mittelmeier, the dad of Lucas Mittelmeier from The Captive Curse.
Do we ever see Lucas's dad? No.
Yeah, well, that's why he's not on the list. But he was a pretty good guard. You know, his security booth is a pretty important instrument in The Captive Curse. In sneaking into Anya's room or whatever, and you send out the things like, "Oh, monster has sighted on castle grounds," etc.
I'd like to think that's actually his voice.
Oh, I think that is his voice.
Maybe. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the only part of Lucas's dad that we hear from in that game, other than the riddle that he leaves to Lucas. But that's whatever, you know. I guess he does care about his child, which is pretty cool. Let's move on to number 1. And who else could it be other than the man who has guard in his last name? It's Ralph Guardino from Stay Tuned for Danger. Yeah, that's right. It's the original. Oh, I guess Connie Watson wasn't the original. But you know, Ralph was the actual security guard.
Ralph is amazing and deserves the number 1 spot on this list, if you ask me. He already knows who Nancy is at some point, like she goes in and out of there, but every single time he's like, "Can I help you? Oh, you gotta sign in and enter." So he cares so much about his job. Like, he knows Nancy at this point. He's like, "Oh yeah, she's allowed to be in here, but I still gotta write her down. I still need to keep track of everyone who enters and leaves this building, because that's what a great and stellar guard does."
Yeah, he's really dedicated. And apparently, did you know, Meg? He's actually Bill Pappas' nephew.
Which, when we figure this out, and we learn this from the wiki, our minds were blown because, like, well, we didn't know. And we figured maybe we missed something in the game that tells us this.
Thoughts. You know, maybe like there's a thing on Ralph's desk that said it, you know. What could it be?
Another thing to mention is definitely like how many shifts does Ralph work? So much. A lot. He's there all the time. It's like he practically lives there. At night, there's a chance that he catches you snooping in the hallways when you're not supposed to be there. Like, he literally lives and breathes his guard duties. He will do anything to make sure that he's keeping the environment he cares about safe.
He did miss Owen Spader with his fucking, you know, wonky walk or
he was
whatever
off that day.
did. Oh, sure, let's go with that. But
yeah.
His dedication to being a guard at night was what saved the day in the end in Stay Tuned for Danger.
Not only does Stay Tuned for Danger have probably the greatest ending of all time when it comes to the Nancy Drew games, but man, to think that, like, you know, Ralph doesn't really have that much, you know, in the whole story. Like, he's there, he's important, but he doesn't really do much, and you can't talk to him as much as you can talk to everyone else. But the fact that he's the one that truly comes in and saves the day, stops the culprit, and the way he tackles him and the way he handcuffs him, oh my god! Just absolutely amazing. I think he is the real hero of the game.
Yeah, he's the hero who did it. He saved the day. And well, that's our list for the top 10 cards in the Nancy Drew series.
Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to vote for... how does it go again? I mean, subscribe to Doris Charming and Grant.
Thank you. Tune in next time for something else.